How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And this is our review of Loki Episode 5, Journey into Mystery, which you were saying was the first appearance of Loki and Thor in the comics, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, the title of the episode is a reference to that. And that's not to just jump right into it, but that's kind of a big part of what this episode was a ton of references and Easter eggs.
Yeah, for sure.
Things in the background, and hey, wait, did I see that right? Yeah.
Just before we get into the episode, was there anything in the episode that you feel like, that there's a reason why they made that the title of it?
Not necessarily.
Okay, maybe just paying homage to Loki in general.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking.
Major spoilers for all of Loki, definitely including this episode. Pratik, what did you think?
Overall thoughts, I really enjoyed this episode.
Okay.
I think
I'm almost with you.
Yeah, I think outside of a couple things, I think hands down this is my favorite episode of Loki. So
really, hands down.
I'm gonna say that
Better than last week's then.
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely some flaws, definitely some things that you can poke at, but I think overall I enjoyed this one the best.
This is probably my second worst. But I did enjoy it because I really didn't like episode 3 and how like fillery it is, and I feel like this kind of whereas with episode 3 it tries to go somewhere and never gets there. With this, it just takes forever to get to the point of where it's trying to go for me. That's how I felt about it. But other than that, there was a lot to enjoy, a lot of Easter eggs, like you were saying. I think for sure this is like up there within like the Marvel Disney Plus shows for sure as like some of the best. But with this series in particular, it's my second worst, honestly, so far.
Okay.
Top 3 though, or top 4.
That's fair. Do we want to just jump into?
Let's just jump in. What did you really like about this episode? What did you appreciate?
So when this show was pitched, I think what I was really looking forward to was just getting to see a bunch of Loki variants. Like obviously that I didn't know that's what it was going to be, but I was just excited to just see Loki like bouncing through time and space and getting to see a lot of different stuff. And that's what this episode gave me. I really enjoyed just.
Well, it gave you Loki variants.
Yeah, it gave me Loki variants. I really enjoyed like getting to see the way they all played off of each other. I think I enjoyed those interactions so much.
I thought I was gonna be cringing at like the Loki variants, but they all were pretty good. I mean, the one who's like looks like kind of like Thor with like the Mjolnir, he didn't have much to do other than like betraying Lokis and
other than being a Loki.
Yeah, and kind of starting the domino effect of all the Lokis betrayed each other and stuff. But
which was so funny.
It was funny, and I'm glad they didn't overdraw because they could have kept that scene going and they kind of cut it where it should have been.
Exactly. I also like that, like through that scene, our Loki is in a lot of ways eye rolling at it. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like we're really doing this,
especially because he just spent like the first 2 episodes of the show. Mobius is telling him about himself and like how you betrayed people 50 million times, all this stuff, and now he's like seeing like Mobius's words like in live action happen. And it's just like, oh god, I am that guy, right? But I thought it was fun. I think that they didn't harp on it too much. However, this episode does a thing that episode 3 did where it kind of stops the story a little bit. Or it doesn't pause it completely like episode 3 did, but it slows it down. Like, I feel like there was so much momentum building up from the last episode. And I kind of assumed, like how with the boat episode with Falcon Winter Soldier, the episode before the finale, they're going to try to stretch it a little bit, which comes to my big gripe with this.
So we're jumping straight into dislikes?
Well, I think I've said everything I like.
Well, what'd you like? I didn't catch it. What did you say?
Pretty much just like the Loki banter between each other. That's pretty much mostly. And I like how creative they are with like this void world that they're in. But I mean this is just like a gripe that I feel like I have to get out of the way, I guess.
Okay, fine.
I just feel like this series really should not have been 6 episodes. It should have been shorter. We didn't need any of episode 3, essentially. And there was so much of this episode, everything that you need from this episode is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They could have cut like 30 minutes out of this episode. Yeah. Like, literally, I really think they could have. And not that it was bad, and I think that it did filler better than episode 3 did filler. But it's just still was kind of like they kind of just like slowed the treadmill down a little bit until the finale, where now things are speeding up towards the end of this episode, right? But
so if we're jumping into because I disagree with you.
Okay, go ahead.
I fully disagree with you. But if we're sticking with like things we didn't like, I do think the thing I didn't like is along the lines of what you're saying here, in that scene with Loki and Sylvie, and I said this while it was happening, was painful. Like,
yeah, it was awkward. It was so.
It was very awkward. There were like, not to harp on it, but like they just there's
What's
no
with Thor
chemistry
movies and like forced chemistry and like
nothing there. And that scene just felt like it took forever. Like I thought things were moving, like kind of moving along, like we were getting new thing and new
breaks.
And but I think it's specifically that scene. Like I think if you take that scene out of it, the episode does kind of like move through its paces.
I think a lot of the Loki stuff and just them like trying to fight the cloud monster, and I felt like, has Marvel not learned their lesson from cloud monsters and stuff? Like even from DC with Green Lantern and all the way going back to Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer.
Well, but they're not like necessarily
boring. They're not fun to watch on screen. Like it's just a purple cloud, and like I get it. Purple's a contrasting color to green. We've seen this with Ang Lee's Hulk. Like I get it. Like and throughout this whole series,
but they're not fighting it.
They're enchanting. Well, he tries to fight it at first.
He's just distracting. He never actually tries to fight it.
They do. He goes to with the intent of killing it, and then they see what it does to the boat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, back up."
My point is like we never actually get to see like Loki versus this monster.
Right.
We never get that. I think that I agree with you. I think that they could have made the like enchantment scenes like maybe more visually interesting. And
I thought we were gonna get that because when you first see her get a glimpse of like the enchanting, you see like rooms in like a castle or something crazy, and then this time it's just nothing. You see it from the outside perspective, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah,
like I don't know.
With that said, I really liked Richard Grant's like old Loki, and in that scene,
he was great.
Him like when you think about it, and we're putting an Oscar actor in a goofy costume. And then we're asking him to like.
If it wasn't an Oscar actor, it would be bad. Like you needed him for that. For sure.
Yeah, he killed it. But like when you zoom out and it's like we're putting him in like this ridiculous costume, and then like none of that stuff is real. It's just him on like.
Could you imagine him on set that day?
Him on set, surrounded by a green screen, just making like weird faces and like smiles and stuff. But in the moment, like it was fantastic.
It was. It worked really well. And it takes a skilled actor for that.
And it was one of those things where like I've always loved like Tom Hiddleston's Loki, like never a knock on it, but like watching that, it really did remind me of like I feel like I'm looking at a comic page like come to life, like really? Just the faces he was making like as Asgard's like rising around him, like I don't know, to me it gave me like
felt
small,
like real genuine Loki. They captured what they were going for there.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, it felt like classic Loki, which is what they wanted.
Let's go ahead and talk about the best part of this episode. Do you know what I'm going to mention?
Owen Wilson's Mobius coming back finally.
He was great. The Thanos copter. I had heard rumblings that the Thanos copter was going to be in this, and it was funny. So was the Throg.
Let's just run through like some of the Easter eggs.
Some of them, because I know someone else is going to do a breakdown of like the million Easter eggs that are in here. We just don't have the time.
There are a million Easter eggs, and I feel like this is going to be one where I'm going like when I go back and watch it, I'm just going to be pausing all the time and just like staring at the screen. Going,
Let's start from the beginning though. So you pointed out that the Avengers Tower had someone else's name on it. Let's get into that a little bit.
Sure. So right at the beginning of the episode, when we see Avengers Tower, we see that it doesn't say Stark or Avengers on the side of it. It says Kang. Not
like Queng.
Right. So in the comics, and this is from All New, All Different Avengers from 2016, 17?
Should I go get it?
No, it's fine. But that storyline follows where Tony Stark has to sell Avengers Tower. And he sells it to
not to cut you off, in Spider-Man Homecoming, he was selling Avengers Tower.
Right.
And in Far From Home, we see Avengers Tower with a new atrium like in the center of it. So
yeah. So who knows? Maybe something that we're seeing in the MCU. But in that, he sells it to the Kang Corporation and their CEO, Mr. Griffin, who definitely has something funky about him. And then spoilers for that run. It turns out that their CEO is just Kang the Conqueror from a different timeline, different point in his timeline.
Different version of Kang, I guess.
Different version of Kang. Yeah. And so like that, so we get to see that here, which again, this show has really been teasing the Kang thing.
It's got to be Kang, right? Let's just get out with it. Do you think after watching this episode, let's put the over underline at 80%. Do you think it's over 80% chance we get a Kang is behind this at the end or under?
If you were asking me, if you asked like pre-WandaVision me, I would have said over.
But WandaVision just ruined you?
WandaVision ruined me for that. Like I'm going under. I'm going under 80. If I had to put the odds, I'd put them at something like 45%.
I feel like
maybe 50.
I feel like a guy in Vegas who just like lost it all on Mephisto, and now I'm like rolling Kang. But
you're like, it's got to be at this time. My luck's got to change.
There's just there's just so many hints to it. I just feel like they're telegraphing it, but I also said that with Mephisto, so I'm really not wanting to say, oh, it's Kang.
I could very easily see, like, at the end of it just being like...
Kang turns around and smiles like Thanos at the end of the first Avengers.
Well, I was going to say, like, I could very easily see this just being another Loki.
I would hate that, especially with how flat the Vote Loki guy went. I felt like that was pretty...
Flat?
I felt like it felt flat. Because they had been hyping it up in the promotion since, like, the first trailer for this Loki show.
What?
The President Loki.
Oh, okay.
It's from like a Vote Loki.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. I'm sorry. I guess I'm the comic book nerd today.
No. I didn't know what you were talking about. You just said the Loki fell flat. Like there was a million.
The Vote Loki.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
But I just feel like I don't want to see another Tom Hiddleston or just another Loki at this point. I feel like if it's not Kang, I might be disappointed at this point. But I am gonna die on this hill. It's Kang. It's got to be Kang.
I hope you're right. I really do. That'd be exciting. Like,
why else put Renslayer in there?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
A lot of stuff. Going back to Easter eggs though, so we got the
Thanos copter, we got the Avengers Tower, we got Throg.
So we did get Throg, which another one
cool, and Mjolnir, I suppose.
Well, I mean I'd assume that's Throg. So again, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, so Throg in the comics is a
Frog Thor.
Basically,
pretty
Frog
soft,
Thor.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like 3 different origins for Frog Thor.
So wait, that hammer though was pretty like
normal
human
size.
Yeah. Does it shrink or does he get bigger?
Yeah, it shrinks. Yeah. Mjolnir can change size.
When I first saw the Thor jumping in the jar, I was like, is that just a miniature Thor? I thought like maybe some Ant-Man stuff was going on, but then you see it's a frog.
It was so really good. One of those things I like never thought I'd ever see on screen.
This episode had a lot of great things to it. I just feel like there wasn't as much development in the story as I wanted until the end, you know?
See, at the same time, I do feel like this was the episode that kind of filled in a lot of the blanks. Like, if you think about what we know after this episode versus what we knew prior to this episode, there are a lot of, like, things that we know now.
Yeah.
And so, again, an episode right before a finale, like, its job is to set up the finale. That's what it should do. And so, like, I do think, like, as its place, this did a good job of that.
So, like, with WandaVision, before we get to the finale, we're now beaten down and thinking, okay, there's not going to be a secret big bad, because why would they throw someone third, like the party that they haven't even hinted at introducing, really, right? It's got to just be Agatha.
Which is why I think this might just be a Loki.
But a Loki, do you think that's like the most logical explanation, or that it's just Renslayer at this point?
She doesn't.
Do you buy her? Do you believe that she really isn't in on this and she really doesn't know?
Yeah, I do.
Is it just because of that scene with B-15 where she goes in and interrogates her? Because I feel like that's, for me, the scene where it's sold, oh, she really just wants to know who's in charge.
Well, not just that, but then, like, after that scene is over, when she's, like, talking to Miss Minutes, and it's like, again, there's no reason for her to lie. Like, it's not like Miss Minutes can betray her, I guess. Like,
maybe. Miss Minutes seems to be pretty sentient.
Maybe Miss Minutes is actually...
What does it really mean to have a soul? I gotta watch Blade Runner again.
Anything else you want to say about this, or you want to just score it?
I feel like there were so many little details that are so missable that I feel like I gotta watch a breakdown or something, like, or just at least rewatch it again, like at half speed, just to catch like some of the stuff. But I think I am ready to score it. Go first though.
Okay. I think I'm gonna give this one a 9.
9? Really?
Yeah.
This is your first 9?
Yeah, I told you this is my favorite episode.
That makes sense. What'd you give the last one? You remember?
An 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 7, 8, 9, right so far?
7, 7,
8, 9.
Well,
7, 7, 7, 8, 9.
No, 7, 7, 5, 8.
Oh yeah, episode 3. Sorry, episode 2B. Forgot about that one.
But going back to actually, like, I know we're scoring, but circling back to what we were talking about earlier about how you really could shrink this down. I feel like you could have combined episodes 1 and 2 and episodes 3 and 4, and then left 5 alone, and then probably have a finale of 6.
100%. 100%. Yeah. The fact that we didn't get a post-credit scene for this shows me, at least, that they stretched it the story as thin as they could.
Well, I think that if the point of an episode is to set up a finale, like, why do we
do it at the end? I feel like
why do we need
that
a
was
post-credit?
Supposed to be like the post-credit or something, and like they just it just really feels.
If that had been a post-credit, though, I think that would have been bad. I felt like this episode
would have been a bit of a letdown.
I felt like this episode, start to finish, ended exactly where it should have. Like, I think a post-credit, as much as they're kind of fun for like speculation, would have ruined things. The only like post-credit that would have maybe been exciting is if we had gotten to see like who is in that castle, but that also kind of ruins the speculation.
Or even just like a throne or just a little bit more of a hint.
Back of a head.
Yeah. Watch them. They're gonna say like that castle. It looks like a castle or a mansion or something. They're gonna say that's Kang's from the comics or something, and it's gonna be
it's a generic castle,
right? It's purple.
Is it? Yeah,
well, everything's purple to contrast the green.
All right,
but I'm gonna go ahead and score it. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an 8. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first 2 episodes or the last episode, but there was a lot to enjoy. This is one of those episodes that I feel like upon rewatch I'm gonna enjoy more. But for now, I think 8. Just the pacing. This is definitely one of the worst paced episodes of any Disney Plus show so far for me. It was just so badly paced. It just
the boat scene would like a word.
The boat. Look, that's you saying that, not me. The boat scene was way worse for sure, but this is definitely up there for me as far as like just dragging on and just get to it. But at least it got to the point that it was trying to get to, and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give an 8. I think an 8's a good score for this.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. Anything? I think I'm ready to. Yeah, go ahead and take us out.
The only thing I was going to say was I'm so happy that we got Mobius in this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he wasn't in episode 3, we couldn't have. And I'm glad they didn't hold out on the reveal that he was alive because once they told us what was kill,
like we needed him back. The only thing we're waiting for now is the jet ski.
Oh
that's it. It's the last thing.
We better get the jet ski. I'd rather see the jet ski than Kang at this point.
If there's no jet ski in the finale, I'm giving it a 1. Like that's
it's just a 1, or at least like he's like I'm gonna go to a jet ski shop or something.
No. I need to see a jet. I need him on a jet ski.
On the water or just on a jet ski like attached to a truck or something.
On a jet ski.
Okay.
You know what? I would take like Mobius on a jet ski, but it's like one of those things that kids ride outside of grocery stores. Like I would take that. Like
it's not even a real jet ski. It's like a toy one.
But I would take it. It'd be funny. I like it.
I need to see that now. I want to see that more. And he's got to be saying, "Wow," while he does it. All right, guys. Stay tuned next week for the finale of Loki. I know we're super excited for it. Despite this episode not being as great as I want it to be, I'm hyped. I'm super hyped. And I got to know who's behind the TVA, man.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. See you guys.
See you next week.